Patrol. What else? What else? Shut up! Keep on sucking.
This is the best pro wrestling podcast, and we will keep on sucking. Hopefully not. Hopefully this is a good podcast, and you like the podcast. Welcome to the show. My name is Tommy Stryker. I am the former indie wrestling wannabe with an asterisk. Joining me is Taco.
What up?
And also Joe.
What's up?
Want to give a quick shout out right at the beginning of the episode to sltdwrestling.com. That's a new affiliation that we're kind of associated with. It's a fan based website with lots of articles and just fans writing about wrestling and talking about it there. So check out sltdwrestling.com for that kind of stuff if that's what you're into. And you can also find this podcast listed there as well as all kinds of other places. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
They got a cool little setup. They got like a little constant radio playing of wrestling podcasts. So if you're at the workspace and you just want to throw on some random wrestling podcast, you might hear us. So
there you go. And what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn. What's the other? iHeartRadio is a new one we're on. Anywhere you get your podcasts, basically. And if there's a spot where you want to find us that you cannot let me know, at Tommy Stryker or at BPW Podcast. We got a lot to talk about this week.
What a week it's been. So much to talk about.
I mean, title changes. We had the big New Japan show. We got to mention, we just recorded earlier today an hour-plus Strong Honor where we talk New Japan and Ring of Honor. We go into all the happenings, especially the Chris Jericho news.
It was a New Japan heavy.
Yeah, we went balls deep on News Japan.
Balls deep on your mom.
That's not fair. She has a...
She's got MS, man.
You gotta take it down,
That
man.
is so profane, Dana. And rude.
Rewind.
But we did a whole hour on mostly New Japan, talking all the angles coming out of Power Struggle, going into Wrestle Kingdom. Like I said, the big Chris Jericho challenging Kenny Omega for the U.S. title.
Wow.
All that news you can find there. Obviously, just mentioning it here, though. Awesome stuff there.
You can literally tell that WWE had no idea because they just released a couple new Chris Jericho merchandise items for Christmas.
Oh, interesting. That's interesting, very much. Let's get into some other news here right off the bat.
Pro wrestling news.
We have quite a bit of news for you.
And we'll kind of get into a lot of it as we kind of go along here as well. Obviously, Jinder losing the title to AJ, a big story.
Whoa, spoiler.
Dude, come on, man.
It's been over 24 hours. Most people got spoiled going into the match.
Yeah, thanks, WWE.
So there's that. I think another story that just came out today, this afternoon, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens sent home off the road, off the European tour, after not getting beat up by the New Day after the Sami Zayn and Kofi Kingston match from SmackDown. They were supposed to, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were supposed to feed and get beat up by the New Day a little bit before the cowering to the back, and they cowered a little early, I guess, and creative didn't. That was not the creative plan, and therefore you have to
off script, man.
You have to go home. So
there's got to be more to it than that.
Well, it sounds like there's Zayn and KO have been a little bit disgruntled backstage a little bit. They were both, of course, close with Jimmy Jacobs, who was recently fired, and Neville. Who got his release too, asked for his release. So some stuff going on there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if they clean up their act and kowtow to what's supposed to be done on those scripts. It's funny because when you watch the show, and I rewatched that clip too, it doesn't stand out as anything. The New Day comes out looking good in the thing, and so I don't know what the big deal is. So.
That's what I'm saying. There's something more to it.
All right. Any other, obviously, like I said, we're going to get into kind of the news of everything as we go through
I didn't get
here.
to watch it. Sounds like none of us did, but Ric Flair's 30 for 30 was this week, and It sounded like it was highly successful, and lots of attention, and eyes were watching it. I had people come up to work today like, did you watch it? I did. I was like, no, fuck you. Like,
I don't have ESPN.
Yeah, I watched the first hour of it. My DVR kind of got screwed up or whatever, so I'm recording it tomorrow. I'm going to finish watching it. Should mention, we started this other podcast last week called Wrestler 3-Wind for the Fans Podcast.com. We're not going to do an episode of that this week. We're going to save it and do an episode next week. We were going to do DDP, and we've got notes to do DDP, but I think we should maybe flip the script a little bit. Maybe do Ric Flair for that next week, and maybe just table DDP for another time. Since we've seen it, we got it there, we got it in the vault. We can always go back
check
to
it out again, and giving us time with Ric Flair, because picking matches for Ric Flair, I mean, that's going to be a tough one.
I mean, I kind of want to just go back and watch some anyway after watching the 30 for 30 thing, or watching most of it, I should say. I mean, we got to watch like a Ricky Steamboat hour match or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like Flair and Sting would be good when Flair was putting Sting over, getting him ready for the title. Flair and Dusty, of course, from the early days of or late days of Jim Crockett Promotions / early days of WCW. So, I mean, there's three. I mean,
that was off the top of your fucking head.
Right, and how do you narrow it down to just pick one of those matches from any of those feuds, obviously?
One thing I think is awesome, because, again, wrestling is just becoming a cool thing again. Let's be honest. Like, it's just become more popular, and with that association
cool,
with
Joe.
ESPN.
Yeah.
I saw an awesome article from ESPN just chronicling his different robes, like through the years, just going through like NWA, going WCW, his WWF Royal Rumble robe was one of them, and like just detailing and I'm just like, that's just about the man's robes. Look, and how do you fit a documentary about this guy in 30 minutes? But I mean, I heard it's good.
An hour and a half.
Yeah. Oh, is it an hour and a half?
Yeah, like I said, I got the first hour in, but the DVR.
It's like an hour and a couple commercials make an hour and a half.
Either way, I'm gonna check it out.
But hell yeah, it's a good little watch.
I'm excited to finally.
The same season they did the XFL thing too, so that was really cool of them.
And this is kind of coming off of the heels of, I mean, remember they were doing that thing with like Jonathan Coachman every week, and then that kind of fell apart. I forgot there was some controversy or something in there, and I forget what it was now. But yeah, that
poaching with the coach.
They stopped doing that thing, but now this 30 for 30 coming out now, and like you said, the XFL thing earlier this year. Wrestling is very, very cool, and getting cooler, and bringing in a lot of new fans, and hopefully they're listening to this podcast, because on this podcast we try to be accommodating to all fans. We're not just a bunch of smarky motherfuckers on here, and we're not constantly talking shit. We try to keep it a little bit positive, because there's so much negativity on the internet already.
I had a public apology to Finley on Strong Honor to listen to.
Yes, you were a little negative on David Finley.
Yes.
You found out he was a very young boy.
He's a young, and he's growing still.
Young boy. So,
even on that sense of it becoming cool, like me and Taco slowly drawing our wives and girlfriends to the dark side, they realizing the entertainment value of it. And then my wife actually just really appreciates NXT, because she's like, there's like very little bullshit when it comes down to it. There's actual wrestling and athletic prowess, and that's what people appreciate.
Oh, wow. Way more progress than me.
Just to speak on that, I've been trying to be more active on Twitter, because that's the thing to do to get podcasts popular, as hard as it is for me to do, because and one thing that bothers me too is when I listen to a wrestling podcast and they make it all about their Twitter followers, and I had to talk with this guy, and all of our Twitter followers were saying this, and we're so right and you're so wrong. It's like, who cares about your fucking Twitter followers, right? But still, at the same time, I'm seeing a lot more new fans on Twitter, and we have to remember, as people that have been wrestling fans for a long time, be nice to new fans. Don't be all, actually, no.
That was the 90s attitude era of like those fans. Like, if you were into wrestling, you were into wrestling. If someone tried to come in, you're just like, fuck you. Yeah, you haven't been watching. You haven't been dedicated for over the year.
And you have to realize, I mean, like, I'm sitting here in a Bullet Club shirt, right? But I'm not one of these guys that's, fuck WWE and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'm sitting here doing a podcast talking about
I counted
WWE.
my wrestling t-shirts the other day, and I'm not going to give an exact number, but it's between 40 and 50. But I just wear them because it's like, it is a lot. It's still fucking clearance.
I've got like 3.
Clearance deals, man. I'm a bargain shopper. But I like it because it's just like, it's a conversation piece. Like someone's like, "Oh, fuck, too sweet," like Bullet Club or Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior. Like it's a conversation piece. Like someone's gonna notice a wrestling shirt and be like, "Holy fuck, you like wrestling too, bro? Let's do it." Like
right.
It's so fun, and it's just I'm seeing more everywhere. Like I'm a busser. I bus around downtown Minneapolis here, and I'm seeing wrestling shirts more out there and everything, and at music festivals and whatnot. It's getting pretty cool.
I was just watching a thing on our local sports channel, and they were showcasing. Forgive me, I don't follow basketball, so we just got some new player on the Timberwolves,
Jimmy Butler,
and he was talking about one of his hobbies is watching wrestling on TV, and just talking about how fun it is, and it's a male soap opera, and those guys are working hard and they're working every day, and we can learn from that as athletes and this and that and stuff, and so it's just there's a diverse group of fans. There's a growing number of fans, and let's embrace the new fans. And excuse me, and not don't be smarky and educate and don't exclude people, especially women. Like you guys were talking about. Well, Joe, you were talking about your wife, but there are more and more women coming into wrestling and being fans. And I was listening to a really great podcast that I think everybody as wrestling fans, especially guys like us or people that are just wrestling fans in general,
that married couple one,
the Married Marks podcast is what it's called, Married Marks, and they just did. It was just part 1, but they found they got on Twitter and they got 3 or 4 female wrestling fans, and they just talked about their experiences, just dealing with people. Sometimes again on Twitter, which is the Wild West, of course, and it's full of trolls and dicks and idiots.
I know, I'm sending Joe my dick pic all the time,
every fucking day.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We joke about dick. We joke about dick pics on this show, but that's a real issue for like I shouldn't say just female wrestling fans, but females on social media in general. So just stop, and especially wrestling fans, because we have a bad enough reputation of people as it is. Like people look down on wrestling fans. If you're gonna send
someone a dick pic, it better be Big Dick Dudley or get the fuck out.
In 2017, people shouldn't be going to wrestling looking for titillation and attitude era kind of crap. Be inclusive, let people in, and don't just. I'm not putting it into good words here, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just
fucking make a sign, dress up, quote some fucking quotes, have a good time. That's
have
what wrestling
fun.
Is about.
Don't
it's the point of the show.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right,
still real to me, damn it.
Now that we're done ranting for a little bit, we got a lot of news and stuff to get into.
Rant, though.
Let's get into the actual meat and potatoes of it. The wrestling, of course. Let's talk some Monday Night Raw. Nope. Hit the wrong one again. There we go.
Monday Night Raw.
Stretch a hammy.
Lots to talk about from Raw. I think probably the top story, the Bar versus the Shield, the tag team title match with ramifications coming up for Survivor
Thanks
Series.
Thanks for spoiling this for me, WWE.com.
Again, you have a little rant in you about spoilers, I think.
Oh, God, it's just like... It's like the vague, like, I'm not spoiling nothing. Was like the WWE.com's Facebook page was like, new champions crowned on Monday Night Raw. well, thanks.
And then the same thing for SmackDown, right?
New champion. Yeah, I know there's other things happening, but
I think they're trying to
experience that.
They might be trying to tap into the Tony Schiavone factor from the 90s of when, Mick Foley's over there winning their championship. Oh, that'll draw a rating. I think they're trying to channel that. Ooh, there's going to be a title change. Check it out.
I don't want to go too deep on the DDP aspect, but growing up not being a WCW person at all, that's kind of why like I was kind of pushing for some DDP matches. It so feels like watching WWE right now. Like, like the matches we picked out
with all the interference and bullshit.
Just the overall presentation, the feeling of everything. Just it feels like WWE now. It's like, oh, Vince, like, hey man, wake up.
Interesting that you bring that up. I do. Well, let's not get into DDP.
Yeah, that's
too
why
much.
I don't want to get into it, but
we'll get there.
Just my minimal experience with WCW, it feels it never went anywhere.
Interesting. Well, it'll be interesting to see what your opinion is the more we kind of delve into that stuff. But anyway, Raw this week, the title change going to the Bar off the Shield, so it's no longer going to be Rollins versus the New Day. It'll be the Bar, Cesaro and Sheamus versus the New Day.
I'm gonna go Dalton Castle on this one. I'm not mad. I'm just kind of disappointed.
Usos, not New Day.
Usos. I'm sorry. You're right.
Because they've been building this up. We've been seeing it on social media since before the last pay-per-view, and I'm jacked for the Shield versus Usos, and they're like, no. Fuck that. And that's not saying the Bar's not going to put on a good fucking match.
I think the Bar and the Usos are still going to have a really good match.
Really
but yeah,
good.
It is kind of disappointing that you don't get your Shield guys.
It was
in
like
there.
Well, I don't want to say it was, but was like the only match on the card, minus some current changes, that was, good guy versus bad guy, heel versus face. Like, it kind of took that away from it. It's like, we're getting a lot of heel versus heel matches on here. And it's very
but technically
odd.
Now, I think the Usos are baby faces when they shook hands with the New Day and showed a mutual respect there.
Yeah.
Even though the Usos,
and I honestly put them in neutral territory myself.
Yeah,
they're not quite heel, but they're not quite baby faces. They haven't made that entire shift.
And they're fun to watch in the ring too.
Yeah.
And I like their promos. So
and going into not jump ahead to SmackDown.
That's fine.
A little bit,
We'll go all over the place.
Benjamin and Gable were kind of the heels in that match a little bit with the fucking cut or the shoulder block.
Yeah, there's that too.
So
and
they were kind of heel coming across heel.
Well, and even their promos the last couple of weeks have been kind of dickish too.
Yeah,
like fucking. What was the one where Gable was kind of rapping?
Last week's.
Last week's Gable's like rapping, and it's kind of lame. But then what made it better was just Shelton Benjamin selling the shit out of it, like so that was really cool, but it was also kind of heelish.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're right. That there's that kind of.
So it's kind of like these minor tweaks going into Survivor Series where it is still kind of setting up that pace where the Bar is going to be the Bar, man, and the Usos, you guys got to get rough in there with these guys. So I'm looking forward to this.
That'll be good.
Match.
Yeah, it's going to be a different change of pace compared to what the Usos have been fighting on SmackDown.
Right, yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what, if anything, they do with the Shield. I've
heard rumors that because with the New Day doing the whole Under Siege thing, that they're trying to work something to New Day versus the Shield somehow.
Well, that'd be pretty hot.
Roman
and
Reigns,
I'm okay with that.
Reigns and Big E have been kind of going back and forth
too
recently
on Twitter,
and everything. So
that's a good point.
That's awesome. I'm totally for something like that.
Yeah, that'd be. I mean, wasn't that really kind of the big feat that was the big feud from a couple of years ago when the Shield was still hot, wasn't it? Or no, it was Shield Wyatts. I'm thinking of. I think the New Day weren't really that big yet.
And then they went to Evolution after that and all that.
Right. But Shield and New Day, that'd be 2-3-man teams.
But with how hot these guys are right now, yeah, that's definitely a good fun match there. And yeah, it was nerve wracking taking the championships off Shield in a sense. There was. What are you guys doing? Where are you going? Like, huh?
But it did make it made Raw was already. Excuse me, I got the bug in my throat today. But Raw was a hot show, and that was a hot main event. The same thing with SmackDown. Obviously, we'll get into it here in a little bit. But
back-to-back shows, and it was they got a lot to step up to next week with their performance, especially with being in the UK like that.
Right.
Normally, it's not that high caliber quality of consistent matches and product.
Yeah, I mean, we were used to, the phone booth and the car on the stage and the mailed-in creative, and this was not all that at all. They brought it and brought really interesting, cool shows, both Raw and SmackDown, ones that you were annoyed to get spoiled by.
Yeah.
Whereas before in the past, they went out of their way to put on a show that was rather boring and not
glad,
worthy of being spoiled.
I did, because normally on these types of shows, I kind of do just read the spoilers and kind of have a freebie night, and no, I'm definitely glad I avoided them this time, so...
All right, well, also on Raw, the other stuff, the Miz TV segment from the beginning of the show where Miz cut that babyface promo on Baron Corbin, calling him the bathroom break of SmackDown. He says, I'm going to make your title mean something. I love how Miz can just flip it on a dime like that and just have everybody behind him, and he's like, fuck yeah, dude. I really enjoyed that.
Oh, I fucking loved it. I mean, there's no way around it. Miz is just, he's the one... possibly the best thing on Raw right now, and he hasn't had a match. Like, he hasn't even had like a defense of the title recently, right?
No, not nothing.
He's fucking Dean Ambrose in that shit,
pretty much.
But again, we're still intrigued with him every week. Whereas Ambrose, we're like, why is he not fucking defending the title, and why hasn't he lost it yet?
Right. Well, like you said, it was like a good face promo there. Then just in a flip of the hat, he has that fucking phrase that's like a fucking secret weapon to become an instant heel, and that's when my head goes up, your mouth goes shut. Like, that even gets me like, dude.
When he was out there with Angle got really mad when he did that.
Yeah,
that was hot, too.
Well, every time he says that, it's just like, oh my god, I just want to fucking smack you, dude. Like, it's so fucking rude to say, and that's like secret weapon, fucking instant heel turn right there. I love it.
Well, you just mentioned the Miz in a singles match or whatever. He did face Strowman on this Raw.
Hey, fuck you! He defended it against Matt Hardy like a week ago.
That is true, and that was a hell of a match too.
Good fucking match.
And he faced Miz. Got the quote unquote win with a DQ because of the Kane interference. The ref should have counted the Miz out. Well, Kane made his entrance though, because Kane makes his long entrance, and Miz is just laying there at ringside. But nevertheless, we're getting. It looks like we're getting Strowman and Kane at some point to build up Strowman, but obviously it felt like Kane originally was being built up for Roman Reigns, but I kind of like Roman Reigns just being gone for a few weeks because every time I see a picture of him now, I'm like, oh fuck, that's right, he's still around.
Well, think about when he had his injury or wellness violation, whatever that was. Yeah. He came back, and people were like, oh hey, it's Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And a week later, they're like, ah, fuck.
Fucking Roman Reigns every time.
It's an unfortunate series what was going on with him, though. This sickness is a hindrance.
Titus and Apollo Crews showed some highlights of Samoa Joe beating them up, and then they kind of smile about it at first, which I thought was really weird. And then they have the match. It's supposed to be Titus O'Neil versus Samoa Joe. Joe beats him up on the ramp, hits him with the coquina clutch on Titus, and that was that. Then we got what was really interesting, though, was Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Double count out here, but they put on such a great effort that Kurt Angle added both of them to the Survivor Series match. I'm glad they did a double count out here because I just don't want to see one getting the win over another right now.
At the moment,
not yet.
With especially with Finn losing to Kane a couple of weeks ago, I just want to see Finn strong. I want to see Samoa Joe strong too. So I like doing the count out here and then adding them kind of as adversaries to that Survivor Series team. That could end up being something that ends up exploding the Raw team or making the Raw team kind of
well, then
fall
Balor
apart.
still got the last punch in when he jumped off the stage after it was all said and done. So it's like he's being the dick in this situation.
That was awesome too. The big pull apart between those two, and that was a lot of fun. Nia Jax and Alicia Fox taking on Bayley and Sasha. Bayley and Sasha in promos. I hate to say it, I've really tried to be positive on these two for a long time, and I'm seeing people online saying that Sasha needs to do the heel turn. She was so much better as a heel back at NXT.
I almost feel like we've been talking about her being a heel just as long as we've been talking about Jericho's contract coming up, and we finally have proof. We finally have fucking proof.
It's definitely a running theme that's gone on throughout, and the shine is off. For Bayley, for me, I don't know, and maybe it probably fell off for you guys months ago, but I
like both these broads a lot. It's just we definitely do need Sasha in that heel role, like you've even said on Twitter, Joe, where like the boss is meant to be like a villain.
Yeah, she's the boss, man. She leads the way, and she does it any fucking way possible.
And at the same time, too, like.
Personally, I like to see the ladies.
She's a team player, but she doesn't seem, to me, feel like a team player. Like, she's not everywhere like Charlotte is, doing these media appearances and stuff. And
well, they could be that they're not asking her to as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, and I'm with you completely with the Bayley thing as well, because it's just, I've tried to be patient. I've tried to give it time, but just any mic work she does, I just feel like she's like a kid in the ring. Like she doesn't know what's going on. She's stuttering, and she's not confident in anything she's saying. Even though she's saying these big things, I still feel like she's got nothing behind it.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
And it sucks because I love Bayley.
When Nia Jax came out for this match, I thought she looked tired and disengaged, but that was just
no makeup.
That was just the entrance, though. When she got in the ring and started like no selling and just like, oh my god, fuck this person. When like somebody would come out and she would just have this disgusted look on her face. So Nia Jax is getting some decent facial stuff in there in that department. After the match, Alicia Fox adds Sasha to the Survivor Series team, but not Bayley. So a little tension there, quite possibly.
Good.
Pete Dunne versus Enzo.
Oh my god.
Pete Dunne winning with the bitter end. Enzo talks way too much before.
Way too
this
long.
This was also a theme on 205 Live, which I did not get through because there was 20 minutes of Enzo talking at the beginning of that as well. Why do they keep beating Enzo talking too much? I mean, I get it. It's heat. It gets people booing, and it literally had the UK crowd chanting boring at Enzo. So that's a problem. Don't be boring. Just get the heat. But I don't know. Anything on this? I'm being very negative.
I honestly, I just don't want to continue the negativity that's going on here. So I'm just going to keep quiet on this one.
The positive is that Pete Dunne beat the snot out of him.
Yeah, it was the reaction. I mean, and again, I know they're in the UK and that's what they were going for, but the reaction he got for his first, real appearance on Raw, I believe, if I remember correctly,
yes.
It's his debut Raw
that
appearance.
Was his debut Raw.
And he gets to fucking forearm Enzo right in the face right away. I love that aspect of it. Plus, I'm pretty sure they announced him as 205, 205 pounds technically. So I mean, cruiserweight versus cruiserweight. I like that idea of even these two feuding, even with both the belts. I mean, you've got plenty of other guys for each side, but I like the idea of these guys going at it.
It could make it interesting. They added a bunch of the UK guys for the 205 Live this week. Mm-hmm. But again, I tuned in expecting big things, and I got at least 10 or 20 minutes of Enzo talking. And it was.
They're trying.
They brought the UK guys out, and he talked to all of them, but it was unclear what the direction or point of it was, and it kind of.
Enzo.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It was what it was.
I still love that UK title belt, man.
I do.
He's getting a lot. He's getting fucking roasted lately, Enzo. But the longer this goes on, I feel like he's finding it a little bit more, like in-ring wise and promo wise. Like not every single one of them is a ballpark, but he's getting real heat from the fans and the wrestlers.
And that's the point. Yeah.
That's the point. But
it's too damn long, though.
It is. But what is it in WWE besides a match? But he's doing things like with that Pete Dunne match, like he was putting shit together, and there was like, we're getting a match out of him now. So.
And I'm actually really intrigued to go and watch the Tyler Bate main event between Enzo and Tyler Bate. That's the main event for 205.
Actually, that's the match I'm thinking of. Sorry, that's like the only thing I did see from 205.
Oh, okay,
but,
cool.
He is putting shit together now and getting more of this experience what he should have been getting all along. But is he a fucking Neville? No. Is he an Aries? No. Is he a fucking... Just name someone. No, he's not them. But it's getting better on a weekly basis. I think he's developing in this role quicker than Nia Jax has been developing in hers.
That's true.
Let's see what else from Raw. Charlie did an interview with Alexa Bliss. I like the interaction between
Did he bite
those
her
two.
Finger?
What's that?
Did he bite her finger?
He bite her finger.
Did Charlie bite her finger?
Charlie, the lady Charlie Caruso or whatever.
I was just thinking like Charlie bit my finger. Remember that? All right, fuck you guys.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
I can be a superhero. Zigman!
That now means that just I don't know why I played Zigman there. That just means I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, well, fucking, I'm Enzoing this shit now.
as I proved on the last podcast on Strong Honor, sometimes you say something and it goes completely over my head, and I'm a stupid idiot for it. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much that's all the good stuff from Raw. So let's move into the SmackDown stuff because we got big old shit on SmackDown too.
Change the subject.
Big old
SmackDown Live.
I can be a
Big sliding D.
I'm going to witness a tag team match. Zigman!
We'll save the sliding D talk for NXT. And speaking of internet trolls, just stop before you even start. We'll get there. Yes, SmackDown this week. The biggest news: AJ Styles finally defeats Jinder Mahal. Finally, somebody takes the title off of Jinder Mahal, making the whole entire wrestling world happy again. And now we get something very interesting at Survivor Series, provided they don't fuck it up and change it back next week.
In a week.
It should be AJ versus Brock Lesnar.
Awesome.
At Survivor Series. How excited are you guys for that?
It's going to be so much fun. Just so much, just thinking about, like, AJ and Brock just standing face to face. It's insane in my mind, like, thinking about the match that they could put together. Because, again, AJ's a consummate professional.
Yeah.
And he can make anybody look good. He made Ellsworth look slightly good. So you imagine him in there with the Beast.
Yeah, it makes me wonder. It makes me curious, though, how much effort is he going to bring to the table? Because he's had a bit of a reputation over the last year of not exactly wanting to bring the A game. So.
Yeah, but you're someone like Brock Lesnar, and you want to fight the A game. You want to be on TV with the A game. You want to be on someone like an AJ Styles, not a Jinder Mahal. Like, just look at his UFC career. He fought maybe, like someone like Heath Herring. He wasn't a chump, but he was never a superstar like Randy Couture. Like he's a name. Brock Lesnar's always been a fucking name. So Jinder Mahal, yeah, that's cool. That's neat. It's a wasted opportunity, though, and this is just so much more interesting. You got the speed, the size, the skill, the talent, the monstrosity, the phenomenal. It's builds itself.
The classic David and Goliath story, too. So... Rusev, it's Rusev Day.
It's always Rusev
Happy Rusev Day!
Rusev was promised a fight with AJ Styles to qualify for Survivor Series, but AJ got the title match last minute, and then Rusev had to face Orton. Rusev dominated the match. He's the Lion of Bulgaria. But it was an RKO out of nowhere to defeat Rusev, and he is out of Survivor Series, unfortunately. But I don't know. It was
a bummer.
Yeah,
it was a bummer. Like, I mean, I've just been wanting something for Rusev, even if it was just going to be this little bit of being on the team. It was something to work with. But now again, he's just nothing. He's not going to be on the pay-per-view. I'm just saying he was not going to be on the pay-per-view, and he's got nothing leading into, say, the next SmackDown taping after Survivor Series.
What if there was a show called Smackdown?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
But I enjoy this match a lot, though. This was the fucking awesome, phenomenal match between these two guys, and it's something we should have seen before between them.
And yeah, we complained about the previous matches between these two, and they were just kind of throwaway. I mean, the 5-second match at SummerSlam or whatever, you know, that whole series.
Oh, the overall, it's like, am I bummed that Rusev lost? Yeah, I'm fucking bummed, man. I really wanted him on there. Rusev's been killing it, but I look at it too, like if Orton was to lose this match, then why the fuck would you want Randy Orton on your team?
Right, exactly. And Orton has already been put on the team, so yeah, there's that. So I don't know. Anything that Rusev has been doing, he's been killing it.
Exactly.
So
I'm not worried about
just
him.
give him something good, and let's move him up, move him into the fucking turn him babyface and have him beat Corbin or something. That'd be great.
Glorious.
James Ellsworth versus Becky Lynch in the first intergender match we've seen it for WWE in a very long time. A lot of people have been clamoring for more intergender matches, especially in a mainstream organization like WWE. You haven't, Joe, and I haven't been a huge fan of it, especially more the flavor of the Lucha Underground ones where it was just men beating the snot out of women, basically. I don't necessarily want more of that, but I like a more competitive intergender match where it makes a little more sense. And of course, it made absolute sense to have Becky Lynch beat the snot out of James Ellsworth. Somebody said, oh, you know who it was? It was Ryan Satin from Pro Wrestling Sheet. He said, well, we should have saved a match like this, a big intergender match for WrestleMania. And I'm like, James Ellsworth and WrestleMania in the same sentence is gross. Like, why give James Ellsworth a WrestleMania payday?
Yeah.
But anyway, I knew what he was saying. It was a big deal to have an intergender match on WWE mainstream programming. But this was exactly what it should have been. Becky Lynch.
It was fun, though.
Yes. Yeah.
For what it was, like, I was expecting to be like, why? But no, I thought the whole thing was fun. I thought having all the ladies on the outside there, like stopping Ellsworth from being even a bigger bitch and running away.
Right.
Was great.
It was kind of like it was pretty much a lumberjack match.
And
a lumberjill match.
I wish I would have had the name down, but someone pointed out too on the internet that the little spot that they did there when Ellsworth was on his belly and then Becky flipped over him and she was on hers too and kind of like lifted up a little bit looking at him. That was a spot that Summer Rae and Emma did when they fought each other a couple months ago. So it was a nice little nod to them there.
Awesome.
So a good little Easter egg.
And what was I going to say? Oh, James Ellsworth cutting the internet troll sexist pig promo beforehand, saying that he lets Carmella wrestle and the women's revolution is a fraud.
We're in Manchester, not Womanchester.
So yeah, Ellsworth doing a good, decent job there getting the heat. And then Carmella super kicking Ellsworth in the face after the match. Carmella putting him back in his place, put the leash back on him possibly, or just get rid of him altogether.
Maybe she's done with them.
I honestly
What do you think, 205 Live?
I would be fine if they just got rid of James Ellsworth at this point. I mean, he's had his 15 minutes. He came in he came in to do that job for Braun Strowman, and he became, you know, that sensation that he was. And yeah, but I'm done with James Ellsworth. Just let him go. He could go make money on the indies, getting booked and doing that crap all over the place. He doesn't need to be taking up a main roster spot. When someone like Emma is getting released, and you still have James Ellsworth around, I mean, that's offensive to me. So, I mean, it should be offensive to a lot of other people on the main roster. Maybe that's what Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were so upset about. James Ellsworth still being employed. We're going to get Charlotte versus Natalya next week. So it's interesting they're doing a lot of these title matches. We kind of talked about this too. This long period between pay-per-views, especially for SmackDown, that we were going to get some championship matches. And so, I mean, obviously with Alexa Bliss being the champion on the Raw side, very interesting with Charlotte facing Natalya, because I'm much more interested in Charlotte versus Clinton Dix.
Clinton Dix.
Charlotte versus Alexa Bliss than Natalya versus Alexa Bliss, because they kind of heel matchup there. I mean, they can talk a little smack, but the Charlotte Flair thing, more interesting to me. I don't know. What do you think?
I actually disagree. I like the idea of Natalya versus Bliss because in my mind, they're two completely different heels.
Sure.
You have Alexa Bliss, who is the young upstart, the snotty punk who's been champion, and she knows she's good. And then you've got Natalya, who's she's tradition. She's, she's got the Hart Dynasty in her back pocket, and she's technically, you say, riding the coattails, but always bringing up the Hart Dungeon. She's the only woman, and
she's got like the technical background and the kind of that credibility, whereas Alexa Bliss is the classic chicken shit heel, always running away, taking the shortcuts to win.
So I that's one of the few heel on heel matches I was kind of looking forward to. So I mean, will I be mad if Charlotte were to win the title? No. I mean, Charlotte versus Bliss is going to be just as interesting. You got just as technical of a wrestler with just as much tradition, technically, just on the babyface side of it.
Sure. The Usos versus Gable and Benjamin, talked about it a little bit earlier, but they get a count-out win, Gable and Benjamin do, after Gable chop blocks Jay. And I like the Usos cutting their little promo on the way to the ring. And
I forgot to bring this up earlier when you were talking about Gable doing the cheap shot, technically the chop block at the knee.
Yeah.
I believe Gable posted on Twitter the Usos doing that to him in a way earlier match back in the day.
Yeah, that was when they were still.
And
that was that injury angle that they did.
Yeah,
with
but that's when
Alpha.
the Usos were still really becoming the bad guys. So it makes sense, but a little bit too late.
Well, not even that, but I think that just gives it something to work with to turn them heel.
Oh, for sure. I see what you're
to be like, well, if they're going to fucking
reason,
chop it, I like that.
there.
I like that.
Yeah, I like them bringing up past events to give a reason. Well, why are you doing this? Oh, because of this.
Are you elated?
What does that mean?
Are you kidding me? What does that mean?
Let's see. So the AJ versus Jinder match, of course.
I actually enjoyed this match. I liked what AJ did. Obviously, again, AJ's making Jinder look good, but it was a good back and forth championship kind of quality match in my mind. Like just watching it and how it's set up, and again, him kicking out of the Colossus was a big, step, especially on a house show.
Well, he got his foot on the rope after the Colossus.
Same thing.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, it was mostly because of AJ Styles, but no, Jinder looked really awesome in it, and I like the fact like his moveset was completely different against AJ Styles, which was really cool. I thought he was more of the brute strength. I'm gonna throw you around. You're not gonna move me. You ain't gonna hit me. You can't do nothing to me. I'm bigger. I'm stronger. I like that aspect of Jinder. It made it look like an obstacle that someone actually had to overcome, and it actually made Jinder look like a threat, or like he could be a threat to Brock Lesnar, actually, not just a kind of a chump that's, lucky to be in a match with Brock Lesnar in a sense. It just actually made him look more, credible doing the moves that, those two were doing against each other, which I really enjoyed. And, I kind of want to see that a little bit more. Like Jinder, he is thick as fuck. Look at him from his 3MB days to today. Like, he should be harder to move. And, I think it's those little movements in a match that, like Shinsuke wasn't nailing with him. He's too strong style. Well, he's a fucking brick, dude. Like, you're not.
Yep.
So it translated super awesome, and just the hot ass crowd for AJ Styles. It was just such a perfect moment, and yeah, dude, it was. Well,
it shows what a special talent AJ Styles is, because we've all been bored with most of Jinder's matches up to this point, and so for AJ to come in and say, "Okay, well, you're going to do this, this, and this to me, and I'm going to fly around the ring and bump like crazy for you, make you look like $1 million, and then I'm going to beat you."
But that's the people Jinder needs to be working with, because is Randy Orton really going to go out of his way to do that? No. Is fucking Shinsuke no, he could barely talk to him. Like, like with all due respect, and
Shinsuke's gonna do his moves and collect his paycheck.
Exactly. AJ Styles is that guy. He wants him to be better because he's gonna be better, and the next guy's gonna be better than. He has that mentality, and it truly fucking shows. Just this month. Well, I suppose it's November now, but just the last 30 days alone just proves to you, like, he is your number one guy in this business in your company right now, and you need to bend over backwards for AJ Styles, because he'll walk if he's not happy.
Yeah, and I'm just salivating again at this idea of Brock Lesnar and AJ Styles.
And overall, like, it's better for Jinder. Because, a lot of people, it's advertised in India that the 2-time champion is coming to India, whatever, Jinder Mahal and all this kind of stuff. But I think it's going to help Jinder a little bit more. Him, if he does win the title back, if it happens in India, that would be such a magical moment for him and the Indian people just to have this moment. I mean, it just does seem kind of too soon that title, the WWE Championship would change hands in another country, in a matter of 2 months. I think it's in December they're going to India.
Yeah, so not even a month.
So it's, I think if you're going to put the title back on him, that's where you do it. That's where you create a magic moment with Jinder, because he hasn't had a magical moment. He hasn't had, that championship moment. It's just he won. That was shocking. He's another person too that I look, and if he doesn't get the championship in India, which who fucking knows what, I have him pegged for. He should win the Royal Rumble in my eyes.
Okay. Whoa. Here's the thing. I want to go back just a little bit, but so he's had the title all summer. Into the fall here, many months, ever since the spring, he's had him just having the championship for that long, even though it's been all bullshit, Singh Brothers wins, all that, doesn't matter. He is definitely, he's more of a star now, definitely, with him being on top. So there is that factor there. Do I want to see, and do a lot of people want to see the title go back to him in a couple, in a month? No, nobody wants to see that. Does anybody want to see him win the Royal Rumble? No, not without a change in that gimmick. Let's build up to him winning him having a triumphant moment in India, but as a guy that everybody wants to see win. He's in this awful heel role right now.
One night to change someone, though, and a moment like that, it's gonna be like you're gonna have the Indian people going fucking nuts, and then he comes out on SmackDown, people are like, but he cuts the promo, and it's like, oh shit, he's not that guy anymore. Oh, India humbled me, and blah blah. You can work around it, and so it's a
long way to go.
It really is. I'm being very optimistic for Jinder.
Yes.
But
you're bringing positivity to a new level.
I'm trying because I see what the WWE is trying to do with him right now. They're trying to make a new star.
I don't get it.
They're trying not to rely on fucking Roman Reigns, because how's that working out? They're trying not to rely on John Cena, because I can't see him.
What else?
Randy Orton, yeah, how's that been fucking going for the last couple of years? So it's just so I agree that they need to make new superstars. You need to take chances. I say the Royal Rumble thing because let's look at the last couple of years, the Royal Rumble winners. Has anything been exciting? Has any been thrilling? No. It's been fucking lackluster. It's been so fucking disappointing, whether it's Roman Reigns, John Cena, Triple H. Do I need to go any fucking farther?
Sheamus?
It does need to be someone like
Batista.
Get a notch under Jinder's belt besides a 6-month title reign.
So you're saying because the last 5-6 years of Royal Rumble winners have been bad, why stop that tradition and just keep going with it?
I mean, I'm not saying it's like the greatest decision, but it's shocking. The fucking people are going to be talking about it
because it's been bad. You're predicting that.
If Jinder is in the Rumble, I'm going Jinder.
Right.
As of right now.
Certainly, I'm going to hold. That's a sound clip right there.
Yeah, keeping that.
You can play it. I'm just saying, it's just he needs notches under his belt besides lackluster championship matches for 6 months.
Well,
that's doing nothing for him if you're trying to make him a star. Yeah, he's got some heat, but he needs to get some notches. At least Sheamus fucking has a bunch of notches under his belt. At least he was a credible champion. Del Rio was a more credible champion than he ever was. Del Rio's not that great. I'm sorry. He's never been anything phenomenal. So
you should tell that to those people in Canada that are running a wrestling show. We all need to listen to Taco more because he has historically had really, really good takes.
Nia Jax is the greatest female competitor to ever step in the ring.
She's not like most girls. So we all have to remember that.
You guys got to admit, though, there was a small little inkling if you just wanted to watch Brock just chuck Jinder across the fucking
yeah.
ring.
Yeah,
I was ready to go. Yeah,
Like I was
Suplex
ready
City all
for
day
that.
long.
But like I said, AJ Brock.
Can
That's
you
all that
imagine
needs to be
fucking
said.
Brock suplexing AJ Styles and him just landing on his fucking feet? Yeah, who's the cat now, Ospreay?
But yeah, either way, Brock and Jinder, and Brock taking Jinder to Suplex City, giant erection. You know, that's an example of my classic takes. So yeah,
It's just that's the way you gotta go. Is give us a fucking end this year on a high note, man.
Rusev Day is not a joke.
It's Rusev Day.
Not the time.
we did have another Bludgeon Brothers video. I just want to see the goddamn. I stop it with the videos. They overdo these goddamn videos so much. They did it with Emma. They did it with countless examples. Way too many. What do you call them? Promotional videos.
Promos.
What are you?
Vignettes.
Vignettes.
We all get at the same time.
Way too many vignettes. Not
Everybody
enough
wakes up
action.
tonight.
They should have debuted on Halloween with their big ass hammers. But now I'm honestly bored with it.
And we didn't get a fucking Fashion Files.
No, we sure didn't.
I was fucking disappointed.
And maybe that's why, because there was no room for the Breezango. That's why we got no Bludgeon Brothers on this show too. So
Are they even on the tour?
that's a good
knows?
question. Maybe they are. Maybe they aren't. I don't know. Maybe they're just hanging out with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Sammy, right?
Sammy Wawa?
Sammy
Oh no,
Wawa.
it's cool. Just they're gonna run their mouth and they're gonna be tag champs in a couple of weeks. Just ask Enzo how that goes.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk some NXT.
Change the subject.
We're on the road to Survivor Series and the road to NXT TakeOver War Games in Houston. We did manage to figure that out on Strong Honor eventually. Is it
That's
Houston?
good.
Is
It
it
is.
San Antonio?
Yeah, I
Is it,
fucked that one up.
that's okay.
I think Ring of Honor's in San Antonio.
San
with the
Antonio.
San
night.
Antonio and
Yeah,
Dallas.
and then Dallas.
So lots going on in Texas here in a couple of weeks between Ring of Honor and WWE and NXT. But yeah, looking forward to War Games. They did release what the rules for this one are going to be online. They didn't say it on the TV show, but they did release them there. Of course, the 3 teams is very unique for War Games. Usually it's just 2 teams of varying amounts of people. But yeah, we got the 2 rings inside 1 cage. And what they're going to do is they're going to start with 1 member from each team in the ring. So 3 guys in the ring. Then the other members of the other teams are going to each be locked inside their own shark cages by the entranceway. So the first 3, I believe, are in there for 5 minutes, and then they release another team into the entire structure. So say
Hope a giant claw comes down on Toy Story and picks him up.
so after 5 minutes, you're going to get a whole team of 3 in there against the other 2 individual members of 1 team. So 1 team will have advantage right away. Then after, I think they said 3 minutes, might be 5, another team's cage opens, they get to enter, and then finally the last team gets to enter. So that's how it's going to work. And once everybody is in, you win either by pinfall or submission. So that's also good news. I was worried that they might go the submission-only route, like in early War Games that I watched a couple of weeks ago. It was submit or surrender, and that was the only way to finish the match, which was a little bit clunky. But I like this. I like the 3-team aspect of it. I like that 1 team's going to get a distinct advantage right away, and then slowly things even out, and then the pinfall or submission victory possible.
Is it an advantage right away, or is it a disadvantage right away?
Which way? What do you mean?
Because if you get your team in last, they're the ones that are most
fresh, right?
Yeah,
right. So, but it depends on who's been getting beat up more so during the match. So, yeah, it's intriguing. It'll be fun to see what they do with 2 rings. It'll be fun to see how low that cage ceiling is compared to the old WCW cage ceilings, because they were really low on WCW. Could not do much big
They
flying.
also look like they were made of fencing that I put in my backyard.
Well, to be fair, that's what
Pretty
all
much is,
old cage
yeah.
matches were.
The
But
cage they're using in the background, I don't know if it's a hint of anything, but it looks like a standard WWE cage. So,
well, and WWE's changed their cage in recent years. Like, it was just kind of the normal, what do you call that kind of fencing? Why can't I think of it? It was that normal fencing or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the last couple of years, it's still that normal fencing, but stretched like really tight.
okay,
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something I've noticed. Like, it's
I have to look at it.
yeah, the last few regular cage matches, it's just been stretched really tight. Not Hell in a Cell, but just the regular cage matches. Have that same chain link, chain link fence, but stretched extra tight.
Like
so,
Joe's mom.
Jesus Christ.
That is so profane, Dana. And rude.
Sorry, Joe. That's kind of over the line.
That's pretty bad, Aaron.
Hug me! Hold me tight!
What were we talking about again? NXT. So yeah, the War Games is coming up. Couple of weeks, should be a lot of fun. 3 teams in there. 3 teams, pretty much heel teams. We got Undisputed Era, Sanity, and Clinton Dix and his team. Roderick Strong and the Authors of Pain. Who are you rooting for in this thing?
I'm going. This is gonna be the first time I say that. I'm going Sanity because the match is just pure chaos. And again, Alexander Wolf's reaction to just finding out that it's a War Games match is like one of the best things. It's like a kid on Christmas morning. Like he just had the best thing. I love that.
And Sanity has kind of been presented a little more babyface-ish recently, with Nikki Cross kind of having some babyface type of matches in there, and just this whole thing has kind of been centered around Undisputed Era getting involved in the mix with Sanity, the Authors of Pain losing their titles to Sanity, and that whole thing going on. The Authors of Pain have kind of stayed the same, but now
they're a little bit more on the face side now.
A little bit now that they've got Roderick Strong on their side, or kind of forced Roderick Strong to team with Authors of Pain.
They're not heels because they just want to wreck house on everyone in NXT. They're faces in the sense that they got dicked over and they want their championships back.
Right.
So they have an agenda. They got the blinders on now.
And I like Undisputed Era because anytime Kyle O'Reilly comes sauntering out to that music, I'm all in, baby. And I just like Kyle O'Reilly, period. So despite heel babyface affiliation, but I don't know that I'm necessarily rooting for that team to win. It'll be interesting to see how they present the whole thing anyway. So, okay, other stuff from NXT this week, kind of getting into the utility part, the undercard. Well, the main event was the Roderick Strong versus Adam Cole match. That was it was a good main event, awesome. TV style match. Nice showcase for Adam Cole a little bit, and Roderick Strong putting on the clinic of backbreakers as he usually does. But a very predictable DQ situation here when all the players come out, basically the Undisputed Era come out and interfere, and then all 3 teams face off against each other to build the tension for the match. So again, a decent TV main event, but nothing too much eventful, just building up the War Game stuff. We did have the Heavy Machinery returning and having a nice little squash match versus Chris Payne and Sean Maluda.
They have bandanas now. And
they have that compactor finisher. And fucking, how about the, what's his name, Dozovic? He does a couple of moves and he's just slapping his shoulders, right? And then he does that big fucking worm. I did not expect him to do the fucking worm. So,
I've been practicing for weeks.
Obligated to learn the worm just because that big fucking beast does it with ease.
Hey, Taco.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah, prove it, bitch.
I will.
We'll be putting that on Periscope on Twitter at some point.
You know it.
Amber Moon.
It's gonna look like shit.
Amber Moon.
He's so mad.
Amber Moon is challenging Mercedes Martinez next week because Mercedes Martinez said she doesn't think Amber Moon can win the big one. So we got a little feud there, a little TV match for that next week. Should be good. Kairi Sane beat Billie Kay with the insane elbow. Teased talking about this earlier. She hits a low forearm in the corner called the Sliding D. Talked earlier on this show about internet trolls and being dicks and being gross and not being nice. Please stop the Sliding D tweets now. We all know what you're thinking. We all thought it ourselves. We don't need to go there. And just stop. Just stop. That's what it's called.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm just looking I'm looking at the wall. I'm just.
And Joe's flipping me off.
I thought you were doing the...
Oh, the circle game?
Yeah.
I'm glad this is the game.
Cassius Ohno has a really hot Cesaro t-shirt.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that shit was
That's
rad.
American, my friend.
I don't know where that came from, but maybe because wasn't he was one of the Real Americans
I don't
once.
remember that,
Remember the
though.
Real Americans?
Yeah, with the Swagger
and Uncle Zeb or whatever.
Yep.
Maybe that was from that, but yeah.
I'll eBay the fuck out of that
Cassius
shirt.
Ohno wants Lars Sullivan at TakeOver War Games, so that should be a fun
That's
matchup
fun.
there. I liked the Selena Vega Andrade Cien Almas sit-down interview. Selena Vega can fucking talk, man.
Killing
Yeah,
it.
Just talking up Andrade. I just really enjoy those two and what they're
I think
doing.
she realized this is her chance, so she stepped up to the plate and she's making them both shine.
Yep, yeah, and she's got some in-ring in her too. Remember, she did that flying head scissors off the apron onto somebody the other week. So there's some interesting stuff to be had there between those two. Velveteen Dream took on Cesar Bononi and won with the cartwheel Death Valley driver. Velveteen Dream was impressive in this match. He was hitting hard, looking good.
I've noticed that Cesar Bononi is the guy to have that match with, though. He kind of he's a hard hitting, just simplistic guy.
Sure.
So while being a developmental talent, it just let Velveteen go off.
What you mean, Kaiser Bononi?
but yeah, Velveteen Dream is definitely growing on me, and I'm looking forward to
That thing called
Aleister Black
was
match.
Cesaro? Were they called the International Superpowers?
The Real Americans.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think.
I found the T-shirt, but it's definitely not on WWE Shop anymore.
Maybe you can find it through nefarious means.
Yeah, I'm gonna check out some eBay. We'll see what happens.
But this the Velveteen Dream, though, it just goes to show you that you can have such a far-fetched, ridiculous character and still come across as a threat. Like, that dude is imposing. Like, fucking his muscles have muscles. Like,
he's jacked.
Like, for being the fucking dork on Tough Enough, like, he's the like, you corrected me earlier, but he's the only guy remaining. Like, they just fired the fucking winner.
Yeah.
Like,
him and Mandy Rose are pretty much the only ones.
It almost seems better to fucking lose Tough Enough. They give you that fucking drive to make, be better. And, he's running with it and he's making it work. And, like, he's someone that really looks like a threat against Aleister Black right now. And it's just, this feud is so brilliant, and I didn't think it would be this fucking great. Like,
I disagree on the threat part, but everything else I agree with.
Speaking of tough enough, somebody was saying Jason Jordan on the Raw Survivor Series team reminds them of Maven.
Oh, we didn't talk about John Cena being the fifth for SmackDown.
Yes, yep. John Cena got added to the SmackDown roster as
Fucking
the fifth member.
Dicks.
Not Rusev.
Nakamura, Orton.
Not fucking Baron. Oh, wait, Baron Corbin's in that title match.
Yeah, no, the title versus Miz versus Baron Corbin.
Yeah, I was just trying to say a bunch of names. I was like, wait, Baron Corbin does have a match.
Clinton Dix.
God, we're going all over the place.
Ruby Riott is in the trainer's room getting interviewed by some media about her ankle injury. The doctor says it's probably going to be a couple more weeks, which we kind of saw coming because she was in physical pain, obviously, as she was waiting to get the news from said doctor. But, of course, Sonya Deville comes sneaking in there to the trainer's room and saying, hey, man, you should have just tapped out, but instead you tried to be brave. You tried to get to the rope and cowered your way out of the thing, and you should have just chapped, and then you wouldn't have gotten hurt.
She should have
It's
just
not
smashed
strategy at all.
She should have just smashed a bedpan on her forehead and just fought there.
So I enjoyed this.
Classic.
I enjoyed this segment.
No, it was cool.
I like Ruby Riott saying you should have broke it because I'm going to be coming back for you, and when I'm all healed up, let's have this match. And Sonya Deville is all for it. I'm definitely going to break it now, she says.
Well,
so
this is the first mic work or any kind of background scene work I've seen of her,
Sonya
Deville,
Yep.
and it was impressive. Like it just wasn't. It didn't feel unnatural. It didn't feel like clunky.
Not at all.
Like she really, like she's throwing that, determination into the factor. Whether or not it's heelish, it sounded right. So it's fitting the character, and I think she's really developing.
And it was a rare, quote unquote backstage skit that worked for me because they set it up as a press conference situation. I'm informing the media. They're recording the thing with their portable recorders and cell phones and whatnot. Right. And just after the whole thing is done, the reporter's sneaking back in and getting one more question and like, so do you think you can really beat her in a couple of weeks? And yeah. I loved the reporter sliding the phone in at the end of it again, just sitting. Hey, I'm going to get one more question in here real quick. So, but I like obviously it's fake as fuck, but I like that they try to make it look like something.
They use what they got in the atmosphere they got.
We like to say predetermined.
Yeah,
their job is to put you in that magical atmosphere and make you believe, and they do it so well.
Same thing with the Street Profits segment. He kept like reaching for the camera, like he was adjusting like his phone or whatever on a stand, and they intercept the guy walking through the hallway and hand him one of their very cool cups. So now this nerdy guy in a suit is instantly cool, and then the delivery guy delivering one of Tino Sabatelli's suits, they intercept that, and what's his name? Clinton Dix.
Clinton Dix.
Clinton Dix.
The cool one. He says, "I'm Tino Sabatelli," and the other one's like, "What? You don't look Italian." And then, of course, Tino Sabatelli and Riddick Moss show up, and they're like, "That's our suit," just like that's our car.
It's our car. It's our suit.
Everything is ours.
It's our $5,000 suit.
So I really enjoyed that. We're going to get a match between those two teams next week. That should be fun. They've been giving these guys, the Sabatelli and Moss, the sports entertainers. They've been giving them a little bit of a push lately. They got to win.
Setting up for the Dusty Rhodes Classic.
Yeah, that could be starting any day now. I'm not holding my breath on that one anymore. But yeah, that was pretty much NXT.
I think Dusty's big moment this year is the War Games.
Yeah, for sure.
Makes sense.
Before we get out of here, I do want to touch on something real quick here, and I'm doing here at the end because I like to stay. I want to keep things positive on this show, but I did want to talk about TNA a little bit because Bound for Glory was this weekend, the same day as Power Struggle. It was on Sunday. I did not order the show.
I read up on it.
I read up on it. I listened to a couple of podcasts that reviewed it, and I'm glad I didn't order the show. Now, here's the thing. They had some buzz going into this. People had been talking about the TV show. I actually watched about an hour of last week's TV show. I was going to watch all of it, but I just kind of ran out of time. It was intriguing. They've been doing this thing where they bounce around the world. They go to Mexico, they go to Japan, and they show people wrestling in these different promotions, and it was a really interesting concept.
Yeah.
And I think if you want to start a rival to, not even a rival, but just an alternative to what American wrestling is and what WWE is, and even Ring of Honor to a certain degree just kind of copies WWE's TV format. This is a really interesting way to do it. This bouncing around the globe, different matches from different places, different promotions, but featuring talent that's going to be on your shows.
The general idea of what Global Force was supposed to be.
Right. And of course, all these TV tapings happening under the then Jarrett regime, basically, which is now gone. So that's another problem here, is there's no consistency, there's no continuity from taping to taping. Like the last 3 tapings, I felt like they've been under 3 different regimes. And then they put on this Bound for Glory show, which by all accounts was a shit show. Interference in every other match. Hardcore matches 2-3 times in a row. So interference, bullshit, outside the ring all the time. Spot fests, they had the
just their fucking main event they fucking did that shit with,
It was every match. It was every match. Every match was a shit show. They had Gail Kim, who's retiring, win the women's championship. And even that was fraught with skullduggery and whatnot. So
Skullduggery.
They hadn't. Here's the thing: is there was some buzz. People were talking about that TV show going into this. They had a chance to put on a good show and create some buzz. If there had been a lot of positive people talking positively rather about that show, that would have created more interest. Instead, people are shitting on it. People are literally saying, "Do not order this show.
Yeah.
It is a waste of your time and money to order and watch this show."
You do what? 2 pay-per-views a year now? It's
Doesn't even matter.
I've ranted about how TNA, Global Force, whatever you want to call it, whatever it's called this week, has actively gone out of their way to not make money. They have made their pay-per-views less important. They did they started putting their pay-per-views on regular TV and having the one night only pay-per-views, which literally mean nothing. Like, they go out of their way to not make money, to not be interesting, to not be good. And the second something gets buzzworthy and interesting, they go out of their way to put on a shitty ass pay-per-view that sounds bad and nobody cares about, and fuck them. And I'm sorry, but just I know and this SLTD wrestling thing that we're associated is kind of based out of the UK. There's a lot of Impact or TNA fans over there that follow the brand because they go there. They used to quite a bit. They're very popular over there. But putting on these bad shows is just it's killing the promotion should have been dead.
Look what they fucking did with Rockstar Spud. They fucked this dude over so bad because they couldn't get his visa shit organized in time, and he had all this work booked in America, and since he couldn't do that, he lost all this fucking money now.
There's that.
It's
the
so
story after story, and
embarrassing.
Anthem is losing so much money because they bought this money pit that is TNA. I mean, they had to get rid of live audio wrestling and all of that, and a bunch of different Anthem people, and so it's just a mess. I feel bad for the talent. Talent needs a place to work, and it has been that, but it's the creative direction has been so off kilter and bad.
Unfortunately, the best thing for the talent is if that place is done, so they can go elsewhere, they can explore their options. I mean, you already have all these guys saying nowadays, Dan O'Brien, prime example of, you don't need to be in the WWE to make crazy amounts of money anymore. Well, you also don't need to be in TNA.
No, because there's so many great indies now where you can make a really good living, working really good. And to be fair, there's a lot of talent that work there that also, like Trevor Lee, their X Division champion. He does all kinds of indies. I saw him when I was in Chicago for AAW. So I mean, they can go out and work indies for I think for the most part. So thank goodness for that.
Yeah, at least they can make a living.
But yeah, I hadn't talked about them in a long time. I was definitely interested in hearing about Bound for Glory, and then when I heard about how bad it was just so disappointing because they had a chance.
Fuck yeah, man! It really is disappointing, and it's just. You guys gotta just be done already, and I haven't watched any of it yet, but I'm very intrigued by it, and I like that he's going. I don't want to say the long con, but he's going for the long con, and that's Billy Corgan with NWA. He's doing like these clips online where he's kind of showing everyone like, hey, this is the process we're going through, almost like a documentary series going on and everything, and he doesn't have a 5-year game plan to be competition with WWE. He has like a 20-year or 20-year game plan.
Yeah, I've listened to
just to be a good wrestling promotion, and that's what it should be, man. Like, I'm glad he's going a different route with this. And
I hope that it sounds like they're being smart with it. It sounds like they're taking their time, which is good. The current NWA champion, I think they just inherited because it was who he was. So I mean that's not really on them. But yeah, I think, like I said, but talking, just kind of tying into what I said about TNA and that global production or whatever, about like going around to different promotions, like that I think is something that could be a viable, certainly entertaining
For sure.
wrestling product. It took me back, like I heard somebody else say, I wish I remember who it was, but it was on a podcast. It reminded them of like 80s WWF shows where, you know, they would be in the control center and we're going to Boston. Now we're going to New Hampshire or wherever. And, you know, they go around to the different house shows that they would show matches from. But this kind of had that vibe too, but it was worldwide. Oh, we're going to Japan to Noah. We're going to the Crash in Mexico. And so that was fun. And it made for an interesting wrestling show. And it was just regular kind of straight up TV matches or whatever, but still you got the different flavors from the different, you know, a strong style from Japan, a lucha libre style from Mexico. So it just made it very interesting.
And then you could put matches with these, you know, like superstars you're trying to build up, as opposed to like, you know, we kind of went into it a little bit last week on the Asuka situation where, you know, you didn't think it was smart to bring Asuka in strong and then kind of go from there with the whole Emma situation, where I think it's stupid that, you know, they put her with just some random jobber 2 weeks after she had strong matches with Emma, where if you do this kind of situation and, you know, travel across the world, you're going to be able to grab different superstars and slowly build up like an Asuka situation with, oh, we're in, you know, Canada this week and here's this Canadian superstar, boom, she wins, that's the jobber for the week or whatever. It makes more sense. And then, you know, I don't know, man. It's kind of ranting here, but no, I do like that though. Like, you know, it's a different flavor, different people. Where
here's my whole point is that it's unfortunate that TNA or whatever it's called this week dropped the ball on that. But let's see if a Billy Corgan can pick up on that kind of a thing.
How do they drop the ball? They never fucking picked it up.
There you go. Well, like I said, no, they had a chance. They've
had many fucking chances. They're done.
So many.
I
can only be disappointed so many fucking times.
I'm not even disappointed. It's not even surprising. It's just they put on a shit show. It's like, you're surprised? Like, it's nothing new. Like,
nobody should be surprised that they fucked up. But it's frustrating because there was some buzz.
Fucking absolutely half-ass backwards, like they normally do. Hey, let's bring in Stephen Bonner for a fight. He makes sense in the wrestling world, right? Like.
Well, and there's the thing, that sounded interesting. I was intrigued by that. That dude, Dan Lambert, cutting promos, he was amazing on the TV, cutting promos. Just a fucking dick heel or whatever, talking shit about pro wrestling because he's an MMA guy.
Yeah.
It was great. And I was like, okay, they're going to throw these guys in a steel cage and let's see what happens. But then they fucking TNA'd it up, whatever. That's what happened, of course.
I love that shit. I love the random shit. I love trying new shit. Fuck, I'm the one saying Jinder should win the Royal Rumble this year. It's just, you know, we need that shock and awe. We need the different things. And they just would rather just do the TNA things.
Okay, so my whole point here is there is so much great wrestling in the world, and to fans that are disappointed in TNA one more time, or to people that were TNA at one point genuinely probably was the number 2 promotion, certainly in the United States, but maybe in the world, and that's definitely not the case anymore. If you're frustrated with WWE, check out New Japan. It's so good. Check out Rev Pro in the UK. Very good. In the United States, check out PWG. Check out AAW. That you can find these things online. You got to pay a little money for them, but it's worth it if you're a wrestling fan. Check out the High Spots Wrestling Network. I talked about that, I think, on Strong Honor, but you can watch PWG there. You can watch so many great promotions there. Plus, they have awesome like shoot interviews and like the Kevin Steen show. I sound like a fucking commercial for them. But
ultimately, if you want to support these Impact guys, watch these other promotions.
Yes, that's what I'm getting at.
These guys are going to be A-okay. The fucking true wrestlers are going to fucking be able to stick through it. They already have a name built up. They're going to be A-okay, and then it's just helping these other promotions. Give PWG your money, because guess what? They're going to be able to book more of these guys then.
Yeah, and
that's just...
Talent rises.
Hell yes. The cream rises to the top.
Yeah, so...
like, it's... fuck TNA.
So, not to end on a sour note, but let's get out of here with the WWE Tweet of the Week. Now it's time for
the WWE Tweet of the Week.
The This week it's going to come from Rusev, at RusevBUL. Congrats to my friend John Cena, who qualified for the Survivor Series fair and square. Go get them, Tiger.
Hashtag Happy Rusev Day.
Happy Rusev Day. I love John Cena just getting added to the match. And of course, Rusev is upset on Twitter.
And he should be.
Exactly. So, follow this show at BPW Podcast, Facebook.com/Best Pro Wrestling Podcast. Follow me, Tommy Stryker, spelled Stryker with a Y. You gotta check out Strong Honor this week if you're curious about New Japan and Ring of Honor, but especially New Japan with lots of buzz going into Wrestle Kingdom 12. All the big news covered there on Strong Honor. Check out at Strong Honor, stronghonor.com, and this podcast, Best Pro Wrestling Podcast.com, and make sure to subscribe to that exclusive Strong Honor feed on Strong Honor and Best Pro Wrestling Podcast.com. Check out our Wrestler 3-Wind show on thefanspodcast.com. We did Owen Hart last week, and we're going to be doing Ric Flair or DDP. We haven't quite decided yet for next week on that show. But check out Owen Hart over there right now on thefanspodcast.com. Taco, where can people find you?
You can follow me on Snapchat, Twitter, at HGREV Taco.
What else?
And you can follow me at Joe BPWP. That's at Joe Best Pro Wrestling Podcast. And don't forget to check out
SLTDWrestling.com.
Thank you.
Thank you. I almost forgot them. Don't want to forget those guys over there. SLTDWrestling.com. Articles, fantasy booking, fantasy wrestling, whatever you're looking for, find it over there, wrestling-wise, at SLTDWrestling.com. That's going to do it for the Best Pro Wrestling Podcast. Bye.
Peace.
What does that mean? Go to down! Be sour! My botch? Absolutely. That's right, geeks. These nuts? Anything goes! What does that mean? What else? Rusev #1! Keep on sucking.